my own little story about when I first came to the Lord. I was 21. I felt to pray and I felt to get to know God better. And so I started doing a regimented, methodical style of praying. And there's nothing wrong with that as far as you set up your strategies. You can set up your strategies of how to pray. And what I did was I had an idea that I would pray 3 hours a day. So 1 hour in the morning, 1 hour in the afternoon, and one in the evening. Now, I was a young mother, a young wife, and I had a new baby. And I was very busy with that. And I wasn't very good at it either. So when I attempted this, at first I was doing the 1 hour, and that was my idea. Do the 1 hour a day and then go on to add in the others. So I did that as far as the 1 hour started. And when I started doing this 1 hour a day, after about 5 minutes, I'd run through almost everything I knew to pray about. And then as I'm sitting in this prayer time, I also had so many distractions that started to come to my mind. I didn't care about those things normally, but I'm sitting down to prayer and I'm thinking about ironing, or I'm thinking about what I need to do about something, or I'm thinking about I'm hungry, or I had all sorts of things coming through my mind as distractions. And I would bring myself back, and then I checked the time. Okay, 15 minutes had gone by. It took a while to get to the place where I prayed the entire hour, and I got better at focusing in on the Lord. And so one of the things I did was I took Psalms and I started praying the Bible out. So I took some Psalms and I prayed those, and with my own little tune. And I would do things like make a list of people I wanted to pray for. I would do different things to start to get myself used to praying. And this happens because, like in Romans, Paul says your flesh, your mind, your will, the life you're used to, the things that just desires that you have of what you want to do, how you want to do it, what makes you feel good, that starts to come up, and it wars against the spirit. So the spirit wants to pray, wants to communicate with God, wants to give these sacrifices of time and effort to God. And there's a tension that goes on. But you'll find that as you spend time in prayer, and I don't remember how long it took, but it took a little while. But after a while, the time would go quickly. The time would not only go quickly, but it would become much more fulfilling. There were things that were happening in my spirit through this time, things that I was not, I'm not thinking about particular answers to God, from God, although those did come at different times. I'm thinking that there was a spiritual richness that started to fill my prayer time. And I do remember that as I added the second hour, and I never did get to the third hour, okay, I will say that right now, but I got to where I was praying 2 hours a day. And when I did that, it was surprising how quickly that time could go. It laid a foundation for me for the rest of my up to now. There were two things that laid a foundation One was a lot of Bible reading at that time, and the second thing was this prayer time I started. Getting that kind of prayer life going early in my walk with the Lord, in my time where I was young. So I was busy with my baby and my husband, my house, and the things to do there. But in those days, most moms at that time were still stay-at-home moms, and I was a stay-at-home mom, so I had that time. It was a very good foundation for me. Now, through the years, especially as I had more children, I did not have those times as far as the freedom to just take what a block of time out of the middle of the day usually. But it always helped me. And I just think that whatever strategy you want to have for yourself, if you get really ambitious like that, like 3 hours a day when you really had never prayed much more than 5 minutes, you may run into some difficulty accomplishing that. I'm not saying that you shouldn't do it. Just recognize that it takes a certain amount of discipline, and I found that I did not have enough discipline to do a full 3 hours. I think it would be great to do that. There were times that I took other times when, and this was just an extension, okay? Later on in my Christian walk, I felt like, okay, I should take a whole day to just set aside for God. And I ran into the same kind of situation where, yes, I'd learned to pray longer, but filling a whole day with just centering on the Lord, I was not used to doing that. And that was a lot more of a challenge. But do those challenges. It's something that will build you, will strengthen you. You don't have to do them. I think you can grow in your prayer life without doing that. So that's just a little story about what I did and the fact that distractions will enter in, and I still have times. It just depends on where I'm at in my mind. I suppose that's how everybody is. I don't know. I don't know how everybody else is. But I know that there are a lot of times when I still get very distracted. Now I have, through experience, the knowledge that if I get that kind of my mind going everywhere, I just sort of focus it in. I just settle down, quiet myself, bring in my thoughts, get centered back on the Lord. I can sometimes do that on my own. Sometimes I do. Go ahead and get a psalm, do a little Bible reading, do a little meditation on who God is, or something that will bring my mind back, and then I go ahead and pray. Focusing in is really important. Uh, I do think in the idea of praying correctly, that's something that uh, when you're first starting to pray, when you're first a Christian, I can remember being so worried about praying out loud in front of people. Now, I have no problems now because I've done it so much. But there was a time when it was just, I didn't know what to say. I didn't think I'd say the right words. But what I found is through the years, and I'm going to share this with you because I think this is a very important thing to know and to believe, is that God doesn't need your special words. He doesn't need for you to construct certain kinds of flowery prayer times. He needs for you to be honest and open your heart before him. And your words can be, usually they will be extremely simple. And that is what I try to do whenever I pray now. I try to be as honest, clear, concise, and not go off it. And you can see I go off everywhere when I talk. That's how I do things. So the more I am focused in on what is important to bring before God, none of the obfuscation, none of the hiding behind the right words, saying what you can do that with people, and you can do that with God. You say what you think they want to hear. But God is not mocked, and He is not fooled. He sees your heart for just what it is more than you do. And so He sees that, and He just wants you to come honestly before Him. And that's one important thing I do. As I focus in, I get rid of those extra words, extra stuff that I guess you could call it religious thinking. I do the air quotes because it's like some things are just religion for us. It doesn't do anything for God and what He's hoping to have with us, which is a real relationship. It really is very much a picture of how our most intimate relationship, what we would want. We want freedom to be open. We want truth. We want honesty. We want that real person, both to be able to share our real person and to know the other person as they truly are. So, that's no different in this relating to God and building a relationship in prayer.